Hello, everybody. It's Brian from the Peak Fleet. Welcome to the next episode of The Value of Values in a Crisis. Today's value is structure. Structure is the arrangement of objects in relation to one another. I bet if I asked you to think about someone for whom structure was really important, possibly a core value, you could think of a couple of folks who were very structured, maybe come across as sort of rigid or very binary thinking. I also want you to think about the opposite of structure. I think it's a great process when you're trying to discover or clarify your core values of thinking about the opposite of a value. The opposite of structure, I think the word that comes to mind for me is chaos. And so sometimes we don't always embrace or celebrate structure, but I think all of us can appreciate a little bit of structure in our lives, especially with what we're going through right now. Structure is one of those interesting values to me. When we do our core values exercise with folks, I don't see it come up as often as others. And I think it's because it's one of those values that isn't necessarily celebrated. It's important, it's valued, but maybe it's just not one of those top of mind. So when it does come up for an individual, I feel like someone is being really true and authentic about what's most important. I can think of a specific workshop that was a small team that I thought I would just share this story with you, that one person out of, I think there were 5, had structure as a core value, and this person was the only one that had structure as a core value. And it created a very interesting conversation. Not only was this person the only one who really thought structure was important, but she was also the most junior person on the team. And there was this really interesting moment where the rest of the team, I think, saw her differently, I don't know for sure, but maybe they thought of her as overly structured or detail-oriented or rigid. And then this discussion, and as she explained structure and why it's important to her, I really believe they saw her differently. They really saw her for her authentic self and created a place where she could really lean into that. So I think it's a great example of one of these values that's, again, important, but it's not always celebrated. Now, structure right now is something that's important, I think, to all of us, and it's maybe even going through a little bit of a reset for a lot of folks, that we're all having to learn to either create structure where it didn't exist, working from home, or dealing with changes in structure, or maybe even having to deal with what feels like almost draconian structure with these mandates about sheltering in place and quarantine that we're still struggling to accept. So it's definitely something that's front of mind, and whether it's one of your core values or not, it's something that you're probably dealing with emotionally. What I will say is for those who do have structure as a core value, I have a lot of empathy for you right now because this is a trying time. I also have a lot of empathy for parents with small children at home trying to do their day job, trying to create structure for their children, trying to also play the role of teacher or educator. These are definitely trying times. So let's hear it for folks when it comes to structure. One last thought on structure. For those of you, especially for those of you who structure doesn't normally show up as one of your top values, I would like to challenge you to think about structure over the coming days and where it exists and where it doesn't exist and how it makes you feel. Remember how I said the opposite of structure, for me, the first word that comes to mind is chaos, and chaos puts a little bit of a pit in my stomach. So I'd like you just to be more aware of structure in your daily lives, structure for those around you, and look out for those who are maybe craving structure more than others, and be there for them.
I hope you enjoyed that video. We're making our way through all 55 values in the Peak Values card deck. We're examining living with intention and within your values, especially during this time of the COVID-19 crisis. We want to hear from you, so please leave comments here on social media, on YouTube, or you can reach us at info@thepeakfleet.com. If you visit our website, you can find our Peak Values card deck under the product page and also learn about our other services. I hope you stay safe and healthy, and we'll talk to you soon.